welcome to Fantasy Fives, a football podcast where I chat to an esteemed guest all about their dream five-a-side team. This week, I'm joined by the only guest so far to have turned up wearing memorabilia of the band The Darkness. We are joined by stand-up comedian Liam Farrelly, the youngest comedian ever to do Live at the Apollo, Scottish Comedian of the Year, and long-suffering St Mirren fan. Liam...
Alright, how you doing?
I didn't even finish that bit. You're right.
Yeah.
Wait, what's The Darkness? You big fan or what?
I was at the Darkness on fucking Thursday, was it?
Really?
They were playing no, it was Sunday. They were playing the concert hall.
Playing the concert hall in Glasgow. Wow.
It was a shit gig.
Was it?
So because their whole thing's trying to get the crowd up, but obviously the fucking concert hall was more seats than it is standing, and it seemed like the people who were standing should have really been sitting. Like
That happens a lot at gigs. It seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, so like I think they weren't happy. He was taking a huff a bit, and then he pure went off on a guy for having his phone out. So
Is that not what happens at gigs now? You should know that, surely.
aye, but he was doing, I believe, in a thing called Love, and he went off stage because people weren't jumping, and he was like, if you're no jumping, I'm not playing the song. So then he fucking went off, and then he came back. He was like, right, we're playing the fucking song. And then
He's obviously going to check the contract, and that must be in it. And he's like, oh no.
So one guy pulled out his phone. He was like, everybody put your fucking phone away. The guy's still just there. He's like, I'm talking to you. Put your fucking phone away. The guy was like, fucking put your phone away. Then someone slapped it and it flew over the barrier. And he was like, right, let's go.
That is pretty rock and roll, to be fair to him, man. Like, the demands are not. I've ever seen a thing where a kind of small intimate gig where Travis were on, and the whole way through, maybe 230 people there, and the whole way through Fran Healy was just arguing with the tech. He was like, this is called reverb. And like, it's really awkward. Everyone else is pissed. It was a free bar. No one cared. Just play. Why is it always raining me, Fran? Like, what are you doing? So what's been happening with you? You were messaging me about potentially doing a gig at St Mirren. I've done gigs for football teams. They're not hugely enjoyable. How'd yours go?
Oh, it was naked.
Was it not?
No, it was very hard.
What happened?
Because I went and I was, the talk was I was going to do like a set and then maybe do like a bit of like kind of stuff with them after. But I got there and they were all having their lunch. So they were like, they're going to be eating their lunch.
Do you know, I cannot stress how many times I've turned up to a football club and they're eating lunch.
Aye.
Like, no matter what time you're there.
It was lunchtime, to be fair.
That's on you then, right?
Aye, in hindsight, I'm like, we should have probably gone in a bit earlier, but they would have probably been eating their fucking breakfast.
Well, here's a St Mirren connection. I was doing an eating thing for M&S with some players, and they turned up, and Kenny McLean was like, I've just had lunch. And I was like, what have you had? And he said, 2 steak pies. And I was like, you're an athlete, mate. Like, how are you doing
that?
This?
Doesn't surprise me. I remember him at St Mirren. He always looked like he was kind of...
Was he quite beefy at the time?
Quite beefy, but he kind of needed it because he was like good in the ball, so he just needed a lot of kind of compaction between him and the ball.
So you go in to the ground, or the training ground, it's lunchtime.
So I walked in, they're like, you can't do the set, and then they're like, right. And then the guy at the comedy festival was with help set it all up. He was like, why don't you just like roast the players?
No, Liam, no.
I was like, I don't want to do that. Because I was like, the stakes are too high there. Because either like there's a very small chance that works out, and there's another chance it ends horribly, and I can never fucking go back to St Mirren again. Yeah. Also, there was obviously a list of no-fly subjects, all involving chip shops and fucking driving offences.
What did you have to sack? 3 players?
3 players. Just
in what, a 3-week play?
No, in a week. They were all in court in the 1 week.
Oh.
Aye, so I was like, if you're asking me to roast... So they were like, don't mention that, and then
was one of them not arrested for a driving offence and pretended to be another St Mirren player?
Yeah, so the left back pretended to be the centre mid.
Which is obviously very illegal.
He was like, I'm Dennis Adeniran, and they went to arrest him, and they were like, you're not Dennis Adeniran, you're Jacob Brown.
Oh, man.
So
you obviously weren't allowed to mention that.
So they were like, don't mention any of that stuff, and I was like, right, okay. But then that's all I could think about. So I was on there, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, this is so... And they were like, right, well, what we'll do is we'll try and get you do something comedy related. And they're like, what do you think you should do? And I was like, I was desperate for anything. I had nothing prepared. So I was like, right, we'll just get them to tell me their favourite jokes. Because I was like, I can kind of bounce off of that. And also that means I have no kind of real
the
work
onus
to
isn't
do.
on you. Yeah.
So I was like, right, the pressure's off. So I was like, we'll do that. It turns out if you want a professional footballer to leave you alone, you just need to ask them to tell you a fucking joke. All of them just fucking basically try to get.
Did anyone try chip in or anything?
A couple of them did. So in the actual stuff that got put out about St Mirren, Killian Phillips jumped in, and then Gallagher Lennon, who's Neil Lennon's boy.
Yeah, he was at us before. Yeah,
he was good. He had a good joke, and then Greg Kilty as well. But a lot of it was just me standing about, being like, "Have you got a joke?" And they'd be like, "No."
What you cringing so hard at this. And was there language barriers at all?
No, it was all. I mean, Killian Phillips is the most Irish man I've ever fucking met. Like, if you go and watch the clip, genuinely, I was like, I have no fucking idea what that man just said.
If you slow down, it is very Republican ways.
It was just. Because I'd just been in Dublin and Cork, and they said to me, they're like, "Oh, wait till Killian comes, you're not going to understand a word he says." And I was like, I've just been like, I'll be fine. Then he started talking, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I was like, so I was talking to the players, and also none of them knew who I was. Right?
Oh, did you not get introduced?
No.
Did they not? Sometimes what they do is they'll give you like a player liaison who'll take you round everyone.
So I got took round by the media guys. So they were just like, so I think it almost looked like
your work experience.
Aye, just like, like like a fan with a traumatic brain injury or something. I just like, can you tell me a joke?
Oh,
So,
Liam, man.
I was walking out, they were all just like, why is this guy? Also, see, when I actually was in the situation, and I was like, maybe to ask them to tell me a joke wasn't a good idea, because basically what I was doing was accosting people at their fucking work, man, and being like, oh. So then I was talking
to like HR trying to catch people out. Yeah. But we're trying to sack another 3 players in a week. What's happening?
So it was brutal. But they were all really nice to me. The nicest man was Elvis Pomono. He was so nice.
I don't even know who that is.
He's our right back. He became a full-time right back because the other one got arrested. So he was lovely. He was chatting away to me. He was being genuinely so nice, which made it all worse. Like, see, if I was just dying on my arse and people were being horrible to me, I could have been like, built up a kind of thing.
You can also blame them.
I'd be like, everybody's a dick here. I'll just kind of get a us and them mentality.
I'm going to go support Morton. I can go to that.
But instead, he was lovely, which really made the whole thing a lot sadder for me. And he was like, "Oh, why are you doing this?" Which was in itself was a horrible question. I was like, "Oh, I'm a comedian," and he was like, "Are you? That's amazing!" And I was like, "Aye, it's no bad." It's like
it's been better.
So you got a joke, and he was like, "No." He's like, "But if you're the comedian, you tell me the joke, and they'll get a clip of it for you. It'll look great." And I was like, "Oh," and I remember what I literally said to him. I just looked him in the eyes and just went, "Oh, fuck." And he was just like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, I tell stories, Elvis. I'm not really like a...
I tell stories. Elvis is also such a good sentence, isn't it? Like,
I was like, I tell stories. He was like, "Oh, tell me a story." So I was like, "Right, I've got a joke about football, about like Hibs and Slitherin and Edinburgh and all that stuff." So I was like, "Right," I was telling the joke. So I'm like, "Oh, like, have you been to Edinburgh?" And he was like, "Yeah, I've played in Edinburgh." And I was like, "Aye, well, I remember that." Yeah. So then I was like, "Aye, well..."
I remember that.
So I was like, "Oh, right, well, Edinburgh's basically England. We chuckle at that." So I was like, "Okay, we're starting off all right." And I was like, I was at a bus stop, and there was a wee guy wearing a green and white scarf. These Hearts fans went by, like, "Oh, you're a dirty Hibs bastard." The wee guy turned around and went, "Honestly, mate, I don't know what you're talking about. See, when you're dying on your arse and you have to do a fucking accent in the joke, that makes it so much worse." Also, he was...
To one guy?
Aye, one guy who was also fucking English. So he's like, right. And it was like, aye, and he was like, "Oh," they were like, "You're wearing a Hibs scarf," and he was like, "Oh, this is Slitherin." He was just like, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I've got to try save this." I was like, "Because you couldn't do that in Paisley, Elvis. You get your fucking cunt kicked." He was like, "Right, aye, cheers, mate."
That was the end of it.
He walked away. I turned out the St Mirren people, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't put cunt out on the channels."
And was that the last thing you did?
I talked to the manager. He made a joke. I probably shouldn't. I was like, "You got a joke for me?" And he was like, "Ice fucking Scottish referees." And he walked away.
Good.
I was like, "Fair play."
Yeah, good.
And then at the end, they're like, "We'll get a wee picture." So Marcus Fraser, the vice captain, this is the thing. Mark O'Hara was there. He did not want a fucking picture. He went in for his lunch. So I got the
second lunch to avoid getting the picture.
So I got the vice captain was there holding the leaflets, and he was like, "Oh, so like you're doing comedy?" And I was like, "I'm doing a show at the Mall." And he was like, "Oh, so is this your first one?" And I was like, "Oh, he thinks I'm new."
Oh, you're like, you ever heard the live at the Apollo? Mate?
Just like, no, mate, I've done it a couple of times.
Oh, and then was that the last thing? And you just
then I just went to my car and I phoned my dad and I was like, I thought we need to cancel my season ticket.
But I'm buying a strip with Bomono 2 in the back. Oh man, that's see. Have you been back at the stadium since?
No, and this is so they put it out for like on the St. Martin like Instagram pages and stuff like that. So like all this,
how's the comments?
Comments are all basically because I'm not really in it that much. It's literally like all the footage in it is the only usable footage that we got that entire day. So like basically,
what are we talking like a 2-minute clip, 3-minute clip?
It's a 1 minute clip.
Oh, Liam.
and like 20 seconds of it at the start of me being like, I'm a comedian for pace.
Oh.
And then the rest of it's just the players basically trying to handle the situation.
Trying to handle, yeah. Oh, that is horrific. Because I remember you messaged me about it, and I was like, whoa. Because I did Hearts the night before the cup final, so 25 sober for athletes. Josh Kennelly was wearing the worst trainers I've ever seen. They were 600 quid. And I saw Craig Gordon last week, and he was like, that was actually better than you think it was. And I was like, I know, but he's also a very nice man.
Not according to Romanoff.
Oh, what! If you've not listened to Sarv Hearts, the podcast, it's phenomenal.
It's mentally weak.
Yeah, Craig Gordon. What is it? Another Scottish player described Craig Gordon to me as like the fucking Undertaker. So like you'll be having fun, and then this big old man figure stands over you. And then I also did. I'm a Thistle fan. I did the Thistle team building day. So this was.
Is this when they took them out to the SAS?
No, I did not do the Gary Caldwell SAS trip. So it was who was doing the manager? E. McCall. So we'd signed 9 players in the January window, and this was like the 1st of February. Right. So we must have been out the cup, I think. So it was a Saturday at the Radisson Town, and I came in, and I was doing like 5 gigs that day. It was all about. I think I was doing 2 in England that night, and then I remember hating it, and Darian McKinnon was in the front row. And it looked like he wanted to bite his pint glass and spit it in my throat. Like he was hating us so much. I just remember thinking, and also, do you want to know how good I was at team building? We didn't win a game for 9 months after that. Lockdown happened. So, and then, but we still went. I was like, geez, man. So they're horrible, those kind of things, man.
Aye. It's one of those was where like, I was taller than a lot of them though. So that was one of the.
That's the win you're taking from this.
Aye, I was just wanting a bit like, I could mark him at a corner. Also, I was telling
that might be better to tell Elvis.
The thing was, I know it was going really bad with Elvis because I remember at one point it was like I'd left my body, and I was just like, and I remember just looking at it and be like my joke, just thinking like, wow, he's got lovely teeth.
Yeah, that's awful, man. And then because you are a big St Mirren fan,
season ticket holder for Jesus, now that's insane. Like nearly 15 years now.
And I introduced you to start the youngest person ever to do live at Apollo. I think I might have been the one that worked it out.
Aye, it's never an accolade that I knew.
I did the research on it when we were doing Off the Ball one time, because your story about doing it is insane.
Aye. This is probably the reason why I've not been asked to do it again. Because the way I kind of got on it was a bit weird. So basically, from my understanding is my agent basically really upset everybody at the BBC and basically wrote an open letter being like, you are not representing working class Scottish people on this programme. And then they were like, basically had to look around for working class Scottish acts. Out of like everyone they kind of went and watched, I was like the pick of it. And they were
like the most working class or the best comic?
Who knows?
Some of the Venn diagram was just Farrelly.
Just in the middle. And then they were, and I think also it benefited that I was also her act who had put the complaint in, so it kind of worked out well for everybody. So it's one of those ones where everybody else on it has like a major agent, so they've all got like entourages. So everybody's got like 5 or 6 people around them at all time. And my agent was with her bigger act in a different country, so I was there by myself. So I was just like walking about the place. Like everybody else has got people being like, "Are you okay? Do you need anything?" And I'm just looking about like, "It's really big in here."
Again, work experience. Like,
Aye, so then they were like, right, you go to your dressing room. But obviously, they put you in, so you get there at like 12 o'clock. You don't film till like about 8 o'clock. So you're just sat in, like, because they want you in the building in case they need to do anything with you, in case they need like pictures or they need to check what you're wearing and makeup and all
Yeah.
that shit. So I got put in a room that was, every wall was a mirror, and I had to sit in there for genuinely about 5 hours. I was just by myself in a room full of mirrors.
that's proper, like,
Aye, like
torture.
aye, genuinely. There was a point when I was like, "Are they like two-way mirrors?" I was like, "Are they watching me to see what I'm going to do?" So I just sat there. About 2.5 hours in, they came in and they went, "Do you want a Nando's?" I was like, "I'll take a Nando's at this point." Aye. So they came, I gave me my Nando's. I sat and watched myself eat a Nando's. And then they're like, right, it's time to do the gig. But genuinely, it was like sensory deprivation at that point. So I walking out on stage, be like, wow, people.
All the lights and all that. That's mad.
Aye, so it was a strange
And
process.
so you're not meant to go to the hotel and you slept in someone's sofa or something like that as well?
Aye, so they were like, we give you budget for a hotel, and I was like, oh, because they don't pay, so it takes like 3-4 months to get paid for that gig. So I was like skint there. So I was like, oh, I've got a mate who's will let me stay in their sofa, so can I just get the money to get the train down? And they were like, what? And I was like, well, see, whatever you were going to spend on my hotel, you just give me that so I could get down to this gig. And they were like,
You're treating it like a payday loan, man. That's
Aye.
so good.
they were like, right, okay. But they clearly didn't trust me because they were like, we'll book the train for you. So they wouldn't even give me the money to book my own train.
Oh.
So that was mad to me because I was like, of course I'm not gonna no fucking take 140 quid off you and then not do a gig. Like, so I went and then literally done that. I thought everybody after it would be out partying. No, everybody very
Does
sensible.
no one go out?
Nobody went out at all. Literally shut the bar at maybe like 11 o'clock. So it was just me, my girlfriend, and her mate, and then the people I was staying on the sofa with.
You
They were
stayed in someone's sofa, fucking hell. weird,
Aye.
man.
So then I fucking they had a car for us, but like there was too many of us. So I was like, I said to the people whose house it was, I was like, you just take the car, I'll get the subway back so I can say goodbye to my girlfriend, who's now my wife, so it worked out well.
Yeah, okay.
And then, so literally, been on stage at Live Apollo maybe like 2 hours ago, and then I was on the subway to Brixton by myself, and then I went to sleep in a sofa bed.
Oh, that sums you up perfectly, I think. That is sad. Was
know.
it fun to do, or?
I mean, it's a really easy gig.
Is it?
Aye, well, everybody's tell to laugh before you go on. So, like, see when you hear stories of people being like, oh, and this person died in their arse terribly, I'm like, well, you must have been
Bad.
fucking trying
Yeah.
to, like, because as well, like, there's swear counters and stuff like that. You can't swear too much. But if you do swear, they just fucking wait to the end of the record and then they send you back out again. And then you do
pickups for it, do
aye,
you?
you do the line. So if I'd done 5 fucks and I was only meant to do 3, they'd be like, right, we need to drop 2 fucks. So you're going to go on, then you're going to do that joke again, and you're going to do that joke again.
Out of context, just go on and say a
Yeah,
joke.
literally, you walk on, you be like, I need to do these jokes again. You tell the audience that, and you're like, so you need to laugh, but you can't laugh too much because then it'll look fake. So then so it's a weird balance, and also because they know that the situation's so weird, they're already laughing, so they're laughing at the punchline and shit, like the setup before the punchline and shit. So it's a really weird situation. Luckily, I did somehow out of everybody, I'm the only one who didn't have to do any pickups that night.
You swore about 8 times in that explanation, so
I
that's
know.
impressive.
I know, but I was like, it's fucking, because I also got a big telling off from my agent at the time. She was like, if you go on there and swear, they'll never let a working class Scottish not there again.
You're doing it for the people, man.
I was like, aye, people are counting on me.
So let's get into your fantasy 5-a-side team. So dream 5-a-side team, we've got 2 rules. You have to have a player from the team you support, and then you also have the manager has to be someone in your phone book. When you look at your team, Liam, how hard was it to put this together?
Not massively hard. I was like, I played 5, so I know the setup. I'm a old hand at this
A dab
game.
hand. Right, okay, so when you look at the team, let's start as your goalie. Who are you going in goals?
So I was like, as goalie, you want somebody who's just a bit mouthy and a wee bit of a master of the dark arts.
Okay.
And who's also big. Like, they don't need to run about, but they need to consume a lot of ground. So I was going to go for Donald Trump. because that's like he can run the game for the back. He's
Okay.
gonna.
He's got tiny hands though, doesn't he?
Well, that is the only downfall,
Yeah.
but he's got like, the fucking.
That's the only
build.
downfall, sorry. That's the only
Well,
downfall.
I was going to put him on the right.
He's
but
fucking 78. Ah, yes, well done. Yeah. He's 78.
Aye, but you seen the size of him? He's a big boy.
Would you like younger Donald Trump?
No, I would
Do you want
want
president?
I want current president. Kind of seen there, done it all. I want to stick the Captain armband on him. He's going to try and
You're using Trump as your captain, Liam.
yeah.
Oh, that is a strong
Because
choice.
listen, only captain can go up to the ref, so I'm like, he's going to be able to talk. Also, he's going to lie the whole time. He's not going to fucking tell the truth. He could be like, you caught that ball outside the fucking out the box,
Yeah.
and be like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Trust me, I didn't. And he's not going to back down. So in that situation,
Yeah.
that's what you want. So I'm
Do you
like,
think he'd be a good motivator though, Liam, for the rest of your team?
no, but they're not going to pass it back. So keep going up the pitch.
He'll rename the D the Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America.
Nice.
Okay, because in terms of when you've been watching St. Mirren, who is the most Donald Trump like player you've ever had?
Oh, don't.
Have you had
Probably
any?
Paul McGowan, man.
Paul McGowan, if you are not aware, that first, I'm not sure if he's the only player in Scotland to have ever played with an electronic tag.
Yeah, that wasn't us. That was at
He's
Dundee.
at Dundee, yeah.
Aye, but he'd already kicked 2 police officers when he was with us.
2.
So apparently Paul doesn't like the police. Aye, but he kicked 2 with us, and then he went to Dundee, and I think he kicked another 2. It's always been police. He's
Why?
Aye, I don't know. He's even managed it with ones that are off duty, so he's got like
He's got a radar.
Aye, he just knows, and he's always just fought them.
That's so funny that he does.
Aye, so that would similarities there. They're both convicts, you know.
Yeah.
They've got that going on.
True, and he can pardon whoever he wants. In
Aye.
terms of like football in St. Mirren, you said you've been a season ticket holder for 15, 20, whatever years. How big a part does that play in your life?
Less so now because we work weekends, so it's more difficult to get to games. But I've got a VPN now, so St. Mirren TV. There we go. Aye, but it plays a big part. You know.
How much is it to get St. Mirren TV? You paying a tenner a match?
£15 a month.
Was that all? That's
Aye,
actually pretty
it's
good.
good.
Yeah.
Decent
And do you get
value.
to see your own clips on there? Or?
It did come up. That was
Did it?
a fucking right jump scare. Try to watch the Motherwell game. It's just people like, I'm a comedian.
That guy looks working for you as well.
Yeah, Jesus, if you know the pain that was going on.
So we'll start, right? So you've got Donald Trump in goals. Strong start. Outfield wise, what are you thinking? You going 1-2-1? You got formation, everyone quite fluid.
I'm going to go a diamond. So I'm going to keep my centre. It's going to be a centre back in that situation.
Yes.
It's going to be Stephen McGinn.
Stephen McGinn.
Aye.
Okay. Excellent footballer. Delightful man. Have you met him?
No, I've never met him.
Very
but he's
good pundit now. He's doing lots of stuff on BBC Sports Scotland. Why did you choose Stephen over... is John also in the team?
No,
So why did you choose Stephen over John? Both played for St. Mirren.
because he was better for St Mirren. Stephen came in when we were about to get relegated to League One. So he came in, I think we were something ridiculous, like 18 points adrift at the bottom of the table at January.
And who was your manager at the time?
So that was when we had Alex Ray
Yes.
for the start, and then I think he got about 8 games.
And then did Jack Ross come in?
That's when Jack Ross came in. Jack Ross, we were still on a losing streak. He jumped into the fucking crowd against Queen of the South at home and was arguing with fans. So it looked like, so that's when we got the new manager in. So I was like, no, we're going to League One. There's no way we're getting out of this. Then we signed 12 players in January, all for like LinkedIn and shit like that. So we signed.
So you were doing the Moneyball approach?
Genuinely, we signed a guy called Paul Fialde for Norway.
That sounds like a guy called Paul from Aldi.
It's Paul Fialde, man. But he literally, it was a link. We messaged him on LinkedIn, then he came over for Norway, signed for us.
And was he good?
He was alright. It's how we got that Stelios Dimitri as well.
He was very good.
He came in, that was LinkedIn as well. And then
Is that true?
yeah, like we were signing, like it was who was the guy at Kelly? James Fowler.
James Fowler, yeah.
He was the assistant, and he was messaging players from like LinkedIn. Being
You've told me, was that the time you got a goalie for Man City? Was it that time as well?
yeah, so that's so he came from Man City on loan. He played for half the season with us, kept us up, and then left and became a Royal Marine.
So
Like,
gave up football after 6 months in Paisley?
Literally was like, I'm done. I'm going to go and fight in a war.
It's better than this. And so
Aye.
Stephen McGinn saved.
Yeah, so
Is-
Stephen McGinn came from, it was a League One team. He came from Wycombe Wanderers and signed for us, who were at the bottom of the championship, because he was mates with Jack Ross and he started his career at St Mirren. Came in, was captain. There was a pure turning point, because this is when we were playing in the Challenge Cup. We got to the final of that, even though we were terrible. And he came on and we were playing the Welsh team, TNS.
Yep.
And we were I think we were 1-0 down at half time. He came on, scored like an absolute worldie, and we won 4-1. And then after that, season totally turned around.
And
So,
you were safe.
aye, that's us. We stayed up for that.
And then did you not get promoted next season on penalties?
No, so next season we ran away with the league. We had him running the midfield.
Right.
We had Lewis Morgan, Cammy Smith, and then it was Rory Loy. No, it was Gavin Riley, because Rory Loy kept us up. And then we ran away with that. That was us top of the league. And then we got promoted the next season. Alan Stubbs came in because Jack Ross went to Sunderland.
Yep.
And that was a complete fucking car crash. Spent 70 grand on a guy who's no longer a footballer, who is now a fucking Australian sheep farmer.
Is he?
So,
what was he called?
Heaton. Paul Heaton, Josh Heaton. That was
Paul Heaton's in. What band is he in? Beautiful South. Imagine
Aye.
70 grand on him.
Aye, well, we spent 70 grand on a fucking shepherd. So not much better. I'd rather take Paul. So he was terrible that season. He got 4 games. Totally was coming in.
Is that all he was there for? 4.
Aye, so he got 2 games. He got the League Cup run. So it would have been 6 games maybe then, because you get 4, and then he played 2 in the league. And apparently what he did is he came in, Lewis Morgan had gone to Celtic, and he went to the entire team. See if you think you're all good, you'll know what you need to do. Take your championship medals, send them all to Lewis Morgan, because he's the only reason you fucking won. So I apparently had a big falling out with Stephen McGinn, because he thought he had too much control because he was the captain and all that. So basically tried to sideline him and not play him. We drew 2-2 with Spartans at home, and that was when Spartans were non-league. And Stephen totally changed that game, and we're diabolically bad. Stephen came on for the last half an hour, and we pulled it back to 2-2. Played Queen's Park when they were in League 2, drew 1-1 with them. A pigeon fell out the sky and died at that game. I just
Sums up.
I just remember watching this fucking thing fall into the centre circle, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And then Craig Sampson had to go and pick it up.
I've seen the picture of that.
Aye, because he's the only one with gloves on. Aye, and then he got punted, and we got Oren Kearney in, and he brought a magician to the training ground. So this is where
An actual magician.
Aye,
No wonder everyone was scared of you coming in, man.
Fuck, he's going to make us disappear. So and then stayed up that season in the playoffs when we signed Adam Hannell and Anton Ferdinand.
Anton Ferdinand, I forgot about because I remember listening to that playoff game. Was it Dundee United you played?
Yeah, Dundee United.
Listening to that in the car, and Stephen McGinn scored a penalty in that game, I think.
Yeah, he did. No, he didn't score a penalty. It was Danny Mullen scored.
Right.
It was 0-0 away to Dundee United, and then 1-1 and at home. And we got a player sent off. Got Dukins Nazon sent off.
You're just naming people that I've completely forgot existed.
The Haitian legend.
Was he Haitian?
Aye, he's like Haiti's top goal scorer.
And do you know what would happen if he was in your team right now? Donald Trump would deport him. That is what would happen, Liam Farrelly.
Well, listen, got to keep a hard border.
So you get Donald Trump, you get Steve McGinn. Who's your next player?
So on the left, I'm going to go for Justin Hawkins
of the Darkness.
Aye, of the Darkness.
Top on or top off? What's he
top
doing?
off. You got to take top off.
What do you think he would bring to your team?
So I want someone who's used to being a team player.
But it doesn't sound like he wasn't that night. You would assume.
Well, he's get that band together for a while. They've came back for breakups and stuff like that, So, and also he's really fit. Like he does handstands and stuff.
He looks ripped, doesn't he?
Aye, he runs something mad, 5 miles a day.
That's not that mad.
That's mad to me.
I thought you were going to say 30 or something.
I think that's a lot.
It's 8K.
Is that 8K?
Yeah.
All right, I don't know. The whole K system confuses me. If I'm
not even calling it metric or kilometre, just call it the K system.
Because I'm always like, well, what have you actually done? How far is that?
The whole K system.
Because my wife's training for a marathon. She's like, I've ran 5K. And I'm like, hey, well done.
Do you want me to tell you for your future life? 1 mile is 1.6k.
All right, okay. Well, that seems a bit bullshit, aye. But he's running about. He's having a great time.
Jiggy be good at football?
Apparently, as he always plays up front in charity games whenever the darkness get asked. So also, I'm like, he's got a wee bit of flamboyancy,
okay.
but he's consistent. He's going to keep the team bouncing, So as well, that whole communication thing, he's going to be able to be heard no matter where he is in the park.
I think him and Trump would not get on.
No, I don't. But that's.
I think Donald Trump would misgender him very quickly. I think that would happen, and then there'll be tension, and Stephen McGinn will have to break this up.
Well, that's what I want. I want tension in the team. I don't.
Do you?
Well, listen. Every game of fives I've ever played, someone has nearly got battled. So that's what because there's always comes a point in a game of fives where someone fucking loses it, and it's like, don't fucking pass to him, and that's what I think's going to happen.
So he's on the left hand side. Who's your right winger?
Right winger,
apart from Trump.
It's going to go my mate Sharkey.
Do you know? I've never met Sharkey, but Sharkey is featured in a lot of your stand-ups over the years.
Aye, so I want to give him a chance to make his debut.
Is Sharkey a footballer?
No, Sharky's just unpredictable.
For the non-listeners, for the non-listeners, that's no one, hopefully. For the people that haven't seen your stand-up and you talk about Sharkey, how would you sum up Sharkey as a person?
He's a great lad, but he's got his demons.
What kind of demons are we talking?
Well, he owns a lot of samurai swords.
Why?
Because he likes them. I remember the one time I went in his house and he'd sold his TV, and I was like, all right. And he was like, aye, because I bought that, and he'd got like the big fucking William Wallace sword.
Yeah.
He just had that hanging on his wall
Instead of the TV.
Aye, and I was like, why have you done that? And he was like, because it was only 40 quid. And I was like, aye, fair enough.
How much he sold his telly for then?
At 40 quid.
What a market.
Aye, so he's unpredictable, but that's what I feel this team needs right now.
What? So with Justin Hawkins, Donald Trump, and aren't unpredictable enough, you get Sharkey.
Aye.
Is he fit? Does he understand the K system?
He doesn't understand the K system unless it's ketamine. So I want Sharkey for when I was 16, because that's when Sharkey...
Lean?
Not so much lean, but he was the fastest man I've ever seen. Sharkey used to outrun buses home.
Was that his thing?
Aye, so what happened was I started one day because somebody was like, I bet you can't do that. And then he was like, I fucking will. Because we went to school in Renfrew, but we lived in Paisley. So we get the bus back to Paisley, and he raced the bus back to Paisley, and I bet the bus. So
what was traffic a big thing or not?
Not really. Like, it was a genuine...
Are you trying to say he's running, 30, 40 miles an hour?
He did it. Like, obviously there's bus stops and stuff, so there's pit stops, but he did...
Pit stops? As if the bus is getting his wheel changed and all that.
But he did it. He outran the bus, man, so...
But how do you know, like, because you went running with him where you were in the bus?
No, but you could see him in the window.
Could you see him?
He was running parallel with the road.
That's so good.
So that's
how often did he do that?
He did that like every day for a month on the way.
What, did he do it for Lent or what? Like,
no, it was just basically, it was a case of, you only beat the bus this time, and he was like, I will. And then
did he win most days? Or
he always beat the bus. He always did it. Like, he always got there before the bus.
What distance are we talking? This a couple of miles? Or we'll do it miles for
it's
you.
It's about 5k. Nah, it's about 3 miles. So like he would.
Jeez.
And it wasn't a case of like a light jog. It was a full sprint the entire 3 mile.
And then, but is he not athletic anymore? Or what happened?
So basically after that, he discovered the joys of cocaine and alcohol. So another great one lost.
Has he ever kicked an off-duty policeman?
No, but he did get arrested for breach of the peace, and he texted me about it, and I was like, because he went missing, nobody knew where he was,
right.
And he got arrested in Dundee, and everybody was like, Sharky's missing. Like, we were all worried about him, and then he came out and he texted the group chat, and he was like, don't worry, boys, sorry for all the hassle, got arrested for breach of the peach. There we go.
That's concerning if he is playing Mario Kart. No, like, what is he doing up in that tower?
Is that a sex offence?
So you get Sharky in your right wing. Who's your final player in this mishmash team?
My final player. So up front at every fives games, I always think there's a guy who basically can't move but can hit stuff really hard.
Yeah.
So for that, I've gone for Peter Griffin.
From Family Guy.
Aye, so I let Peter Griffin just sit.
Sorry. So is he the hold-up guy? Like,
So
do you reckon he'd be good?
I reckon he's big guy. He's not going to move. He's just going to trap the ball and then just whack it. Right? That's what I think he's going to do.
He's just shooting on sight every
As
time.
soon as the ball goes to Peter, man, he's just firing. That's what I want him to do.
Sometimes I've been that guy. Do you ever get games of fives where you're just like, I'm just going to shoot every time I get the ball?
Basically. So as soon as you're no fit and you can just no do anything, you just want to shoot on sight. And I think that's all I'm wanting for Peter Griffin.
How do you think he would get on well with Sharkey, for example?
Oh, him and Sharkey get on great. Sharkey would never be happy with Peter Griffin.
Do you think Peter Griffin also likes swords?
I think he does. There's a lot of mutual bonding here, you know. Like, I feel like.
Give me some other examples of mutual bonding between your team then. So Sharkey and Peter Griffin both like swords. Can you give me an example of maybe?
I think Stephen and Justin Hawkins, I think they're going to get on there and broadcast.
Broadcasting is what you call it.
I'm like,
And who's going to go on with Trump?
I think Peter Griffin, Trump connection.
Do you think Peter Griffin voted for Donald Trump?
Oh, I think and he's just, as soon as Trump's getting the ball, he's only going to look for Peter. That's what I need in this situation. It's just a kick and run approach.
Just a wee dink, Peter holds it up,
kicks it, and then the rest of the team are just up and down the whole time. So it's just.
So you've essentially you got two runners either side. Steve McGinn dictating the play.
Aye.
Right wing leader in goals, who's also the captain, I believe.
Aye, he's a captain.
And Peter Griffin up top.
Aye.
Is Peter Griffin wearing sports clothes, or he's just wearing that outfit he wears all the time?
Whatever Peter wants, whatever he's more comfortable in. If he feels it's going to benefit him to keep the shirt on, then keep.
Let's actually go through them because so Peter Griffin is up to him. Sharkey, what would he wear? A traditional samurai outfit?
No, I think school uniform.
So Sharky's good. Justin Hawkins, I would put him tap off.
Tap off. Aye.
And tight trousers.
Cat suit tied at the waist. Aye.
And then Steve McGinn.
Steve McGinn and his suitman, full suitman.
Oh, full suit, okay. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump in the suit again. It's a very kind of formal. There's a formalness to this team.
Is he wearing boots or shoes?
Shoes, the wee kind of gimpy shoes. The ones that get the lift in them. Up to
the sports scene shoes.
Aye.
The kind of thing. Everyone seems to wear them. Right, excellent. Have you thought of a team name for this mishmash of people?
The Bastards.
Perfect. And then the manager. So let's just recap your team. So Donald Trump in goal, Stephen McGinn, Justin Hawkins, your friend Sharkey, and Peter Griffin. The manager of this team has to be someone in your phone book, Liam Farrelly. Who is the manager of this team?
So I was like, this is a very disruptive group of people.
Yeah.
So arguably you'd want someone who's kind of going to be cohesive and can bring people together. And I was like, no, fuck that. We want even more.
Carnage.
Aye. But someone who's charismatic enough to bring them, to listen to them, but create more chaos. And for that, I've gone for Tom Stade.
Do you know, as you were describing it in my head, I was like, this is Tom Stade.
Aye.
This is 100% Tom Stade. I once took Tom Stade, the first time I met him, I was second year at uni, and I'd been doing a gig at Rawhide in Liverpool, and took him to, he was like, what are you doing now? And I was like, I'm going to the Freshers Week drinks. Do you want to come? So he came along. Like, he'd just done Michael McIntyre's Roadshow.
Jeez.
And so he'd been on telly and stuff. And I remember going to my mate Nick. I was like, have you seen that Canadian guy I brought? And then he was on stage. He was like, he's over there. He's on stage drinking a pint through his sock. And I was like, oh, this guy seems sound. So how do you think Stade would cope with Trump? I think Stade and Peter Griffin are two peas in a pod, by the way.
They're going to get on great. He's going to get on. I think as well, Stade knows philosophy and all that type of fucking shit. So he'll get on with Justin Hawkins.
Yeah.
Sharkey, he'll understand Sharkey on a base level. Stephen McGinn, I think, will just be brought in by the charisma of Stade. And I think him and Donald Trump probably are not going to agree on a lot of things, but there is a couple of things where I'm like, they'll see eye to eye on this.
That is a very good selection, I think. And then in terms of dressing room, who's controlling the music? Is it Justin or is it Sharkey?
I'll go Justin Hawkins. Sharky's not good at music.
What kind of stuff do you listen to?
Shite general tunes, man. It's just like
I feel sorry for Steve McGinn in your team. Am I allowed to say that?
Aye, well, he's the one there on football and ability, so he's got to dictate a lot.
But he's got a fucking dictator behind him, though.
I feel like he'd be able to talk sense to Sharkey, though. Sometimes Sharkey, all he needs is a bit of.
And is Sharkey a Mirren fan as well?
No, Sharky's not a fan of anything.
Just running against buses. Amazing.
Aye.
What's coming up next for you? So are you doing Edinburgh Festival? Is that the plan?
I'm doing the Fringe. I'm doing the Stand. I can't remember what time, but I will be at the Stand.
Okay.
Stand 2. The show's called You Need to Shut Up. So
And
that's
what was it about?
basically how I've hit a point in my life where I think most people should shut the fuck up.
Really good on a podcasting platform.
That's what I'm like, everybody's got too many fucking opinions now. So
Give us an opinion you're fed up of people having.
fucking people who manifest shit, I cannot be fucked with that shit, man. But it's like, you're just a wank. Like, shut the fuck up, man.
I'm just about to manifest. If you have enjoyed this podcast, give it 5 stars on any app. And remember, turn push notifications on. Liam Farrelly, this has been a very enjoyable episode. I didn't expect you. I was expecting a very St Mirren heavy team.
I was going to go that way, and then I was like, no, let's just.
No, this is more fun. And instead, we got Donald Trump and Sharkey running against a bus. I love the idea of them traveling on the bus while he runs against it on the way there, and he's fucked by the time that game turns up. Liam Farrelly, thank you very much for joining us on Fantasy Fives.
No worries. Cheers, man.